This is the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief, keeping you informed about the happenings in Annapolis and the area. Local news, local sports, local events, local opinion, and of course, local weather. The Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief starts now.
Good morning. It's Wednesday, February 20th, 2019. This is John Frenay, and this is your Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. Hey kids, go back to sleep. No school today. Some good news from the Anne Arundel County Police Department. Yesterday morning at about 10:30 a.m., Jamari Hammond, along with his mother, went to the Western District Police Station and turned himself in. He was taken into custody without incident. Now, Hammond is the teen that is wanted for a shooting at the Arundel Mills Mall over the weekend. He's suspected of shooting a man near entrance 3 of the mall, which is a large entertainment complex up in Hanover. The victim did self-transport himself to a local hospital with a gunshot wound to the torso, and the last we heard, the victim was in stable condition. Hammond is facing charges of attempted murder. Stanford University Woods Institute on the Environment released a study about the economic impact of sea level rise and nuisance flooding on the city of Annapolis and local businesses. A couple of the takeaways from that were that $86,000 to $172,000 in lost revenue, 3,000 fewer visits to downtown Annapolis in 2017, and without adaptive measures, 1 foot of additional sea level rise will cause a 24% decrease in visitors to downtown Annapolis, and we do depend on tourism. So that's a number that we really have to take a look at. Here's what Mayor Buckley had to say.
We know we've got recurrent coastal flooding issues here in the city of Annapolis, which impact daily life. It hinders the businesses that are economic engines of our city, and it damages already stressed infrastructure. Anyone who lives or works here can see it. The Stanford study is great for assessing the real costs from the impacts of flooding and climate change for both the city and surrounding businesses. We know other cities like Norfolk and Miami are facing similar challenges. Here in the city, we're working towards solutions. We have a 5-year plan in our capital budget to move the water off City Dock and surrounding streets in our downtown. These flood mitigation efforts, which are slated to cost around $12 million, will be built out over 5 years once the federal grant monies come through. Because the U.S. Naval Academy is just a block away from City Dock and shares much of the same waterfront, we'll have to work in tandem with them to synchronize our efforts. The Academy's strategy will involve seawalls and levees, and we will have to interface with these initiatives. If we don't, the water will get pushed towards the historic district. We are excited to have great partnerships with both the U.S. Naval Academy and the state of Maryland. Annapolis is being proactive, but it takes time, planning, and money to fight sea level rise like this.
Now you've heard from the politician. How about hearing from Marylanders? Goucher College just released the results of a new poll. 21% of the 808 residents were surveyed are mostly concerned about taxes, job, and economic growth. 16% were concerned about education, and 12% mentioned crime and policing. Now, while pocketbook issues concern Maryland residents, they aren't necessarily worried about the finances for the state. 61% had a mostly positive view of the state economy, while 28% held a negative view. When it comes to judging the performance of those that we elected, we have a little bit more faith in our state leaders than we do in our national leaders. 73% said they could trust state government, some or all of the time, while just 34% said the same about the U.S. Congress. The poll did also ask about what we thought about Governor Hogan running for president in 2020. 55% resoundingly said, Larry, don't run. We do have a snowstorm to contend with, and up next we have Deputy Chief Kevin Simmons from the City of Annapolis with some information.
With the anticipated snowfalls, the City of Annapolis is asking our residents who park on snow emergency routes to park at one of our 4 parking garages. This will help our Public Works Department expedite snow removal. Annapolis residents can park for free at the following garages: the Noah Hillman Parking Garage at 150 Gorman Street, Gotts Court Parking Garage at 25 Northwest, Knighton Parking Garage at 1A Colonial Avenue, and the Park Place Garage at 5 Park Place. Remember to check on your elderly neighbors and members of your community with special needs. Starting at 7 a.m., the Annapolis Call Center is available to respond to your non-emergency inquiries. You can reach the Annapolis Call Center at 410-260 2211.
Okay, and that about wraps it up for the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief for today. Please make sure you're checking out eyeonannapolis.net throughout the day because we do update it throughout the day. We don't know what's going to come down the pike. You want to give us a rating and a review if you're someplace where you can do that, and give us a recommendation to your friends and colleagues because that would be much appreciated. And you want to check out the Maryland Crabs podcast on Thursday. We've got a great interview with Connie Del Signor, who is the CEO of Visit Annapolis in Anne Arundel County, which is the Convention and Visitors Bureau. And we talked about the whole Airbnb controversy, about the quote-unquote tax and what is looking to happen there. Of course, we have George Young with your local DMV weather forecast, and he's coming up in just a minute after this brief word from the Annapolis Spring Home Expo. Get your house in order. We all have our wish list for our house, interior, exterior, lawn or garden. Come on out to the Mid-Atlantic Exposition's Annapolis Spring Home and Garden Expo on February 23rd and 24th in Annapolis. Come on out and hear TLC and HGTV's Vern Yip dish the tips on making your home something incredible. Visit dozens of home improvement contractors and suppliers and kick back for seminars about remodeling, common tree problems, staging your home before you sell it, or getting antique appraised. You know, they even have some wine tasting from Cove Point Winery. The Annapolis Spring Home and Garden Expo is Saturday, February 23rd from 10 to 6 and Sunday the 24th from noon to 5 at the Byzantium Center on Riva Road. Admission's only $5, and when you come out, you'll automatically be entered into the She Shed sweepstakes. I'm not going to say that a second time, but you could win a she shed valued at $3,000 from Pine Creek Structures. The Annapolis Spring Home and Garden Expo, February 23rd and 24th at the Byzantium Center. We'll see you there.
Going out? You need the most up-to-date local weather. Here's George Young from DMV Weather in Annapolis with today's forecast.
Hey everyone, this is George with DMV Weather, and this is your Eye on Annapolis forecast for Wednesday, February 20th. A snowy, icy, rainy day ahead with a general 3 to 6 inches of snow expected for much of Anne Arundel County, including Annapolis, before sleet and freezing rain start to mix in with the snow, most likely in the PM hours, as warmer air above the surface changes what falls from the sky above to the surface, before ultimately warming up the surface layer as well, causing all precip to become rain later this afternoon or evening, with rain possibly moderate or heavy at times in the late night and overnight hours, before the storm pulls away to the northeast early Thursday morning, with Thursday's highs likely a very wet and sloppy 50-plus degrees for the region. And then after a couple of sunny, dry days in the 40s Friday and Saturday, the Annapolis area could see more rain with temps in the 60s on Sunday. So let's get through today first with a little bit of everything falling from the sky above, and then we'll tackle the rest of the week ahead. But with regard to today's storm, the reality is this. The amount of snow that ultimately is measured will be primarily dependent on exactly when that switch to sleet and freezing rain occurs, and there's simply no magic formula for knowing in advance exactly when that will happen. So know up front that with this storm, more than most, there could easily be 1 to 3 inches of snow total, and then a switch, or if the cold holds on for 1 to 3 hours longer than expected, then there could just as easily be 4 to 8 inches of snow before a switch to a mix. But one thing is almost certain, there will be no shortage of moisture available to produce some form of active weather, so it will almost definitely be a day of active weather with plenty of precip falling from the skies above. Okay, that's it for today. This is George Young of DMV Weather. Be safe out there today with all forms of expected weather ahead, and be sure to get our free app on all of your devices by searching for DC MDVA Weather in the Apple or Google App Stores, and also follow us on Facebook and Twitter and on our website at dmvweather.com so you can always stay weather informed.
Imagine your child saying,
"Guess what I learned in school today?"
At St. Andrews, it happens every day. We asked Emma and Lawson why.
We grow winter greens in our garden to make smoothies. Second graders are the chicken checkers, and our 8th graders take care of our goats.
Our classes are the perfect size, which means we get to know each other well, and our teachers know us.
Visit St. Andrews Day School's open house, Friday, March 8th from 9 to 11 a.m. or call 410-266-0952 for a tour. You've been listening to the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. Tell your friends and colleagues this is the podcast where you can keep up on the latest with what's going on in Annapolis. And also tell them about our website, eyeonannapolis.net, where you can find even more information. This podcast comes to you every Monday through Friday at 7 a.m., keeping you informed with the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. And take a moment to listen to our other podcast, The Maryland Crabs, released every Thursday at noon.